Since I knew about this worldly unification day, I feel that is vibrating in me something that is bigger than myself, something that unites us all in the world, wherever we are. Can you talk about that?
You know, everything's consciousness. And we create this illusion of separation. And we're focused on the little me. But everything's the same. Everything's a vibration of consciousness. Everything's unconditional love. So when we start to elevate our own vibration, we start to feel this very deep connection. Because all of nature is vibrating in that frequency. Everything externally that's focused on praise is vibrating in that frequency. So we start to experience this connection. When we start to focus from our hearts, from union, instead of focusing from fear and protection, we start to feel that connection. And when we unify with that connection, we start to trust in the perfection of what's transpiring. You know, the world's changing, I'm changing. Things change, I change. But we get afraid of change because we don't feel secure when we feel like we don't have control. And this is the secret, to know that you do not have control. You have the capacity and the responsibility to choose your response to each moment. So you can be thinking and worrying about the future, or you can let go and find peace in this moment. And this is the beauty of the facets, no? I don't have to be in my head because it won't change anything. I don't have to look for external security in this moment because in reality there's no answers in this moment. So what do? I come back here. And when I come here, there's an external song of peace, of flow, of unity. And I start to hook into that. It's like I've found the perfect station. And here I am. And everything's clear, everything's flowing exactly as it's meant to be. And this ultimately has to be the focus of all humans. This moment, this moment, this moment.
I'm a facilitator of your system, and I'm grateful to be an extension in the world of your teachings. I'm discovering how it's true that more I give from my experience of consciousness, more I grow, more I see, more I feel that in reality, everything outside is me. What can you tell me about this?
You know, the truth is, everything outside is you. And as you're supporting people, it's vital that you listen. It's vital that you listen. Because you're always talking to yourself. On some level, you're always talking to yourself. And you have such an internal wisdom that when you're giving it to other people, you connect with that energy. And it's that energy that elevates your vibration. And then you start to experience compassion. Because everyone has your experience. Everyone you're talking to, you understand what's transpiring. Because it's you. There's no separation. You know, we have to embrace every aspect of the world. You know, we start with our friends, the people we work with, and it just goes on from there, no? Unity with the family. And at some point, we start to embrace everyone, even the people we think we hate. And in that moment, when we can embrace everything without judgment, we realize that there's only one thing here, and that is love, love consciousness. So everything that's provoking an external reaction is an opportunity for you to let go internally. And when you start to perceive from responsibility, you take that action. So if you're giving to people all the time, you're giving to yourself. You know, I'm living here with the teachers, and all I hear from my room is this laughter in the night. And they're on the phones all day, supporting people, giving to people. But they're so happy because they're giving and they're focused on consciousness. And they're the most joyful people I know because they're giving all the time. And all they're focused on is giving and awakening. Yeah, so it's like that. I give to the world, I'm giving to myself. I reflect to the world, I'm reflecting to myself. Because I am that. I am that. There's nothing but that.
When I decided to do my 6 months 2020, I never imagined how complex and complete that will be, all this. And it's teaching me in the middle of the pandemic levels of surrender to the moment, the present moment, that I didn't imagine possible. How is this that is happening? Is only happening to me, or is happening to everyone?
That's the irony, no? It's happening to everyone. And no one anticipated this. I'm glad you're still saying 2020, huh? The 6 months of 2020. Because we're really focused on that, huh? We're positive it will be 2020. But, you know, we've learnt that everything stretches. You know, it comes in, ooh, and then it goes out, and it comes in. So if there's still any aeroplanes left in the world, yeah, we'll definitely be doing it in 2020. And isn't this a great beginning, no? It's like a training to be inwards, to let go of control. And that's a big aspect of the 6 months. We learn to just embrace everything. So this is a very powerful beginning because there is no clarity. There's all this uncertainty. So we just have to find that internally. And I think that's a wonderful thing. You know, I have a huge trust. I know that this is provoking change. And I know that the change will elevate consciousness and will change the world. Because we need to change. We need to evolve. We need to value what we have. Things we take so for granted, we start to appreciate. And this is what's important. So, yes, this will be the most powerful 6 months that's ever existed. Of this, I'm sure, in 2020.
Stephanie from Italy, what does it mean for you to forgive? I cannot forgive myself for the hurt I think I have caused to others and for which I feel responsible, especially for my son's conditions. since he used to be a drug addict and he still have many mental issues.
You know, you have to start with yourself. You know, we are human. We are in evolution. And we do lots of things through immaturity, through fear, because we can't cope, because we are human. And we have to love that aspect of ourselves. It's not even about forgiving. It's about seeing that this doesn't serve. But when I am unconscious, we do outrageous things. Not just to other people, to ourselves. Look at the choices we make. The destructive elections that we make. We do it all the time. Why? Because we're not loving ourselves. Because we're not present. Because we're not conscious. Because we're immature. Because we're falling into peer group pressure. Because we're trying to conform. We're trying to fit in. We have a billion reasons to abandon ourselves. So start there. Start there. And let it go. Now I change. You are not responsible. Everyone has their own path. Everyone has their own experience. Everyone chooses what they choose. You don't make anyone do anything. And nor does anyone make you do anything. And this is consciousness. This is responsibility. So it's not about forgiveness. It's about reality. Seeing reality. I let it go. I use everything that transpired in my life to evolve, to give, to be more. But the ego, it wants to punish you, wants to tell you how bad you've been, wants you to be guilty, wants you to be small. So if you're small, what's happening in this moment? You're taking. You're taking. But the moment you take responsibility and choose who you're going to be now, that's the moment where you're functioning from consciousness. That's the moment that you're giving to the world. That's the moment that you are empowered and you can empower others. That's the important moment. The other moment is born of immaturity. Let it go. I am no longer that. Now I am this. In this moment, I want to be empowered and give that. Prego, prego. You understand? I talk the English with the Italian accent, but you understand, yeah? Capisce, capisce.
In inglese con l'accento italiano parlo io.
Yeah. It's not your fault.
No è tu colpa.
It's the fault of the spaghetti.
È colpa delle spaghetti, tanta pasta.
In general, I'm very spaced out, no? Very distracted. I put alarms and I go on looking for ways to remind myself to get anchored, but sometimes I forget even that. Do you have any recommendation for the people that is like me?
You know, it's vital that you're using the facets all the time. And it's vital that you learn what is the difference between being in your body and being out of your body. Once you learn to be in, and you can clarify that, and you can feel that, you won't want to leave. Because you'll start to find this incredible depth of being that connects you with everything. And you'll see that when you're not there, you're abandoning yourself. Because leaving, that's an addiction. It's an addiction. Children learn it. I'm afraid, I go. I don't like my reality, I invent a new one. But to really enjoy your life, you have to be here now. You have to be in this moment. And you have to start perceiving through all your senses. So it's just a discipline. It's not that you can't remember. You have to decide to remember. You have to remember to remember. You know those little buzzers? And they go, bzzz. Oh, okay. That will help. Maybe you can get an electric one. It goes, okay, no, that's a joke. Just be here now. Just be here now.
How can you know if a person has the call for the spiritual awakening?
Hello, this is God. It's time for you to wake up. So if you hear that, you are sure to know it's time to wake up. But if God doesn't talk to you directly, it will probably come from within you. You know, if you're asking this question, you've already been asked the question and you have the answer. It comes from within. It's something we know. It's something to move forward, to change, to give, to feel more. It's to open a new door, to find reality. If you have that question, obviously you have that calling. And it comes from within you. You don't even need to understand what it means. There's something telling you, I need to change. I need to wake up. I need to stop suffering. I need to do something different. And the whole world's experiencing that. Is everyone going to listen? No, because it takes a lot of power to listen. It takes a lot of conviction. It takes a lot of courage to move forward. Because humans are afraid of change. So often the universe forces us to change. Because we're here to evolve, to experience more. So we just ask ourselves a simple question. Do I want to keep suffering? Or do I want to live in abundance? Do I want to live in fear? Or do I want to live in love? Do I want to take responsibility? Or do I want to be mediocre and blame the world? It's a point in our lives where we clearly need to mature. And this is the ultimate maturity. Taking responsibility for letting go of the illusion and becoming the love. And this is what's happening. This is what's happening everywhere. People are starting to wake up. They're starting to think, you know, it's just not working. We have to try something else.
You say that we are part of everything, but I feel myself as I experience myself as separate from everything.
Well, you're not part of everything. You are everything. But that's not your experience. That's my experience. What is your experience? That individual I, that small I, that separate unit, that's looking externally. And all humans start there. And then as our consciousness starts to expand, it's like that facilitator was saying, I'm starting to see myself everywhere. And this is the truth. We start going from a place of victim consciousness to becoming creators and seeing that everything's a mirror, that we're creating everything from our circles, from our belief systems, from our limitations, from our greatness, from the fear, from our love. And we start to be here and we start to witness. And we start to see that I have the power to change everything. But of course, initially, you feel very separate. You know, all humans feel they don't belong. All humans feel, on some level, not good enough. All humans feel different from everyone else. All humans have one saying, for all my life, I have felt blah, 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 blah. That's your separation. The minute you hear those words, for all my life, that is your separation. It's not real. It's something that you've created. And when you see that, you have to start healing that. Because the truth is, you're everything. You've always belonged. You are the perfection of love. You are perfect exactly as you are. This moment is perfect. Your human experience is perfect. You are unity. That is the truth of consciousness. But that's my truth. You have to find it for you. And that's the only thing important. What you find. It's not about blindly believing something. It has to be experienced. It doesn't have any sense to the intellect. It comes from the heart.
You talk about the program that is activated the program. What is that program? Where is coming from?
Okay, so you imagine your head's a computer. And just imagine it was programmed like 30 years ago, or 40 years, or 50 years. Now, if you had a computer that was programmed that long ago, well, you'd want to upgrade the computer, no? You want to fix the program because it's antiquated. So imagine that everything you believe is a consequence of things that transpired when you were a child. In your society, everything you experience, and you'd be picking up bits and pieces, maybe out of context, maybe through sensitivity, but millions of ideas that have nothing to do with reality. Nothing to do with the reality of this moment. But because your program is very slow and it's very organized, it's like you're looking through a window that's not clean. You cannot see the world as it is. You cannot see yourself as you are. You can see your program. Maybe your program's amazing. Maybe it's clear. Or maybe there's aspects of your program that are not really mirroring love. Maybe there's prejudice, separations, fears, limitations, dirt, emotions, anger, injustice, prejudice about yourself that you're projecting onto the world. So you're going to update your program. So what do we do when we update a program? We usually just delete it, no? No, we just go, okay, I want something new. And this is what the system does. It takes what serves and all those archives that are so antiquated, we just move them into the rubbish. And there's so much more space. And you start to see, I like the space. I don't have to fill it with more rubbish. I don't have to fill it with more belief systems or ideas. I can just leave it empty because then it's not affecting my vision. I have a clear vision now because I can see from a place of abundance. I'm not trying to look below my program, no? Like this. And I start to perceive the world from the present moment. I'm looking at the windows, I'm talking to you. And I've got this big Buddha sitting in front of me. But I'm not looking at him. I'm looking at the palm trees. I'm looking at the wind move. I can hear the wind. I can hear the birds. I can see all of this and hear all of this and feel all of this, and I'm perfectly in this moment communicating with you. Why? Because I'm empty. So everything is within me. And this is what I want for you. That internal emptiness can embrace the external abundance. When we're empty internally, we can embrace the external abundance. But when we're busy internally, all we can do is focus on one point. One point. And it's not always love. Often it's what's wrong. So focus on letting all this go. You know, get rid of all the old archives. I can't think of the word. Archives. And just be empty. And then decide what does serve. And I think you'll find that the window's pretty empty. It's just full of love.
¿Cómo hago para escuchar y tener claridad sobre lo que realmente quiere mi corazón? How can I listen and have clarity of what is really the desire of my heart?
You know, the heart has an energy. And it comes like this. It doesn't think. What does the heart want? Love, freedom, this moment. The heart doesn't have many desires because the desires are always in the future. The heart just wants to be open. That's what the heart wants. It's not about what we're doing or what we're attaining or what we're achieving. All of that comes from the head. The heart wants to be love in every moment. But it really wants to embrace this moment, to see the perfection of this moment. So don't be looking outwards. Be inwards. And everything will start to unfold. And sure, you can move into action. But always in each moment. You have to move into action in each moment. And see the trick of the ego. The ego's always in the future. When I get that, I will be happy. Happiness, it's in the future. And it's so hard to attain. And I put such a high level that it's almost impossible to attain. So I abandon anyway. See that too. See that. This will not make me happy. I can move towards something, but in each moment. Who am I in this moment? What am I achieving in this moment? What am I giving in this moment? And enjoy each moment. Not that illusion. Oh, and I suffer to achieve my goals. I suffer. It's not about that. It's about this moment. And you can explore everything. You can enjoy everything. You can do a billion things. But really, chew the food. Really taste it. Don't just throw it down because I've got to keep moving. I miss the moment because I've got to keep moving. Embrace each moment.
Normally, I receive a lot of help, and I'm very grateful. And I'm grateful. But afterwards, this gratefulness becomes a duty. And I feel that I am owing to the other person. And it's like I have to give even more. And then that makes me suffer because I feel that I got a huge debt of a favor that maybe was a tiny thing.
Well, that's simple, huh? You're not receiving. Even the way you say you're grateful. You are. But the thing is, you haven't received it. You need to have control. You need to pay the debt. And this is a place where you don't deserve. Just say thank you and let it go. But really receive it. And don't even think about what you owe. Because you don't owe anything. You owe to yourself to allow. And then let go of control. Because a lot of this is to do with control. When I'm giving, I have control. But when I'm receiving, I feel vulnerable. Why do I feel vulnerable? Because I'm not open to receive. It's scary. I don't deserve it. They'll want something. Now I'm indebted. You might not be so conscious of this, but this is what's happening internally. So to really receive, you have to take it in and let go. That's it. And that allows other people the gift of giving too. Often people give, and if you're paying them back straight away, it's like, it's contractual. It's not giving. It doesn't come from the heart. And when people give from their hearts, and you really receive it, that in itself's a gift. See that? Never steal from people. Never steal from people the joy of giving. Because it's a wonderful thing. It's wonderful to give.
Lately, I'm told that I'm afraid of commitment. But I'm told that it's the commitment to myself. And I really don't get it. Can you help me?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious. You have to focus on giving to you. On loving you. And from that place, everything else flows. You don't have to commit externally. You have to commit internally. And everything else will be a consequence. You know, people are always looking for contracts. I will do this if you do this, and I will give this if you do that. And give to yourself. Fill yourself up with love. Focus on what you're being. Focus on your responsibility. And then everything will overflow externally. So if the teachers are telling you you're not taking responsibility, you're not committing to yourself, it's because you're abandoning. And only you know where. It's easy to abandon yourself. You don't make choices based in love. You leave yourself to last. You're not giving. It can be something as simple as getting some exercise. Or unifying. Or choosing in each moment for a facet. And choosing for a drama instead. Or an addiction. Or something that makes you suffer. This is where you're not committing to yourself. I don't know exactly where, but you do. You know where. So change. Do the best for you. And everything else will unfold.
I have a toxic family, very, very toxic, and I try everything, and I want to have a good relationship based in respect, in listening to each other in love, but I continue suffering, and it hurts me. What can I do?
Let them be toxic. It's their problem. The problem is you. Why are you suffering? Oh, because you have an expectation. You expect everyone to sit at the dinner table, say a little prayer, be loving to each other. You know, you want to have some fantasy family, and it's not going to happen. You have to change, and you have to love unconditionally. And every time your toxic family affects you, you need to go in and find that toxicity and heal it internally. And if it's your family, it's vital because you are your family in all their toxicity. And watch that word, no? Watch that word. It's very easy to say something's toxic. Take responsibility and focus on love. And yes, maybe they're full of dramas. Most families are. And some people can have a very nice surface. And everything's very calm and sweet. And it's full of lies. So at least you know what's happening in your family. Because it's obviously all on the table. And you can see for yourself. So use it to heal.
Patricia, a lot is talk about the fear of failure, but I want to ask you about the fear to be seen, to be over the others, the fear to be exposed and become a target. What can you tell me?
Well, you know, you just have to let that go. You know, we feel like victims because when we step into the greatness of who we are, we have to have the courage to stand alone. And you're still looking for approval. And the more you stand alone, the more you stand in your power, initially, you create more criticism. But you have to be true to yourself. And that will change. You know, when I was young, I was a very good athlete. And I was very, very tall. So I'd run races and I'd beat the other kids by an extraordinary amount, no? And I remember my mother used to get mad at me. She'd say, slow down. You're making the other kids look bad. So for most of my life, I used to play small so other people would be comfortable. But I was always abandoning me. And you have to see this. It's just another circle. It's one of those programs. So yes, you have to stand in your power. You have to be clear. You have to be the best of you, but from a place of love. And you have to have the power and the willingness not to abandon yourself, because the outside will mirror that. If you haven't judgment, you'll see the judgment externally. And if you see it externally, you'll feel guilty and you'll start to judge yourself. So this is what you have to go beyond. So stop looking for how this will negatively impact me and just embrace yourself as you are and just be the best of you. But from a place of love, no? Not from a place of image.